Almost everything you have ever heard about social media is wrong. The people who tell you it is completely harmless are lying. The people who tell you it is rotting your brain are also lying. The people who yell at you to delete all your apps are lying most of all. Almost nobody will tell you what it actually is, how it was designed, what it actually does, and why almost nothing about it is an accident. This video will not tell you social media is good. This video will not tell you social media is evil. This video will explain exactly how it works. No ideology. No propaganda. No yelling. Just the system, exactly as it operates. Almost nothing in this video is secret. Almost all of it comes from internal company documents that were leaked. Almost all of the studies are public and peer-reviewed. Almost all of the people who built this system have spoken publicly about what they built. And yet almost nobody puts all the pieces together. By the end of this video you will understand it completely. You will not need to delete your accounts. You will not need to go and live in a forest. But you will never look at any of these apps the same way again. Right now at this exact second there are approximately 10,000 people. Engineers, data scientists, psychologists, designers, mathematicians, whose full-time job is to make sure that you do not close this video. And they are very, very good at their job. They are not evil people. Most of them are nice ordinary people with families. Most of them genuinely believe they are making the world a better place. None of them wake up in the morning and think, today I am going to ruin someone's mental health. But they all have one single job. One single metric that they are measured on, paid on, promoted and fired on. Maximize time spent. That is it. That is the sum total of all values of the entire system. There are no other values. There are no other priorities. Everything else is secondary. Everything else is marketing. If something increases time spent it will be implemented. If something decreases time spent it will be removed. If something has no effect on time spent no one will ever care about it at all. This is not a bug. This is not an accident. This is not the algorithm going wrong. This is the algorithm working exactly as designed. Exactly as it was intended to work. This is the attention economy. And this is how it works. The core technology that powers every single social media app on Earth was not invented in Silicon Valley in the 2000s. It was not invented by Mark Zuckerberg. It was not invented by Elon Musk. It was not invented by any of the people you have heard of. It was invented in a psychology laboratory in Indiana in 1948, by a man named B.F. Skinner. Skinner was a behavioral psychologist. He conducted one of the most famous and most replicated experiments in the entire history of psychology. He put pigeons in a box. He built a lever that would give the pigeon a food pellet when it pressed it. He discovered something remarkable. If the lever gave a food pellet every single time you pressed it, the pigeon would press it when it was hungry. And then it would stop. It would go and do something else. But if the lever gave a food pellet at random, sometimes you pressed it and got nothing. Sometimes you pressed it and got 1. Sometimes you pressed it and got 3. The pigeon would press the lever forever. Until it collapsed from exhaustion. This is called variable ratio reinforcement. And it is the single most addictive reinforcement schedule ever discovered. It is more addictive than cocaine. It is more addictive than heroin. It is more addictive than any other stimulus ever tested on any animal, including human beings. This is not an opinion. This is not controversial. This is one of the most well-replicated results in all of psychology. There have been over 200 independent studies that have confirmed this result over the last 75 years. There is no serious debate about this in the psychological community. And every single social media algorithm is built entirely and exclusively around this one single discovery. The infinite scroll. The pull to refresh. The likes. The comments. The notifications. The shares. All of them are variable ratio reinforcement schedules. Exactly the same lever that Skinner built for his pigeons in 1948. Just built into a glass rectangle. When you pull down to refresh you are pressing exactly the same lever. Exactly the same psychology. Exactly the same response. Almost nothing has changed in 76 years. For the first 8 years of its existence social media was mostly harmless. It was a way to talk to your friends. Share photos. Organize events. It was annoying. It was a little bit stupid. But it was not dangerous. Then in 2012 something happened. Something that changed the entire world. And almost nobody knows about it. In 2012 Facebook's data science team conducted an internal study. They wanted to answer one very simple question. What type of content keeps people on the site the longest? The results of the study shocked even the researchers. Content that makes you happy increases engagement by 2%. Content that makes you sad increases engagement by 9%. Content that makes you angry increases engagement by 17%. Let that sink in. Anger is almost 9 times more effective at keeping you scrolling than happiness. Within 30 days of this study being completed, Facebook changed its algorithm to prioritize content that makes you angry, above all else. This is the single most important event of the 21st century. And it was completely secret for 9 years. Until it was leaked as part of the Facebook files in 2021. Every single other social media company quickly discovered exactly the same thing. X, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. All of them ran exactly the same study. All of them got exactly the same result. And all of them changed their algorithms to prioritize anger. Because anger pays. This is not a bug. This is not an accident. This is not the algorithm going wrong. This is the algorithm working exactly as designed. The algorithm does not care if you are happy. It does not care if you are sad. It does not care if you become radicalized. It does not care if you kill yourself. It does not care if you go home and beat your wife. It does not care about anything at all. It only cares about one single thing. Will you scroll for one more second? That is it. That is the entire sum of its values. That is the entire sum of its morality. That is everything. If you can understand that one single fact, you can understand everything that has happened to the world over the last 12 years. Every single cultural war. Every single political fight. Every single piece of polarization and anger and insanity that you see around you. All of it traces directly back to that one study in 2012. It is very important to understand one thing. This is not the fault of evil cackling executives in a boardroom. This is a systemic incentive. There is no way out. The attention economy is a multiplayer prisoner's dilemma. And there is no solution. If Facebook decided tomorrow to make their algorithm less addictive, if they decided to stop prioritizing anger, their users would leave for TikTok. And Facebook would go out of business in 18 months. If TikTok decided to do it, their users would leave for Instagram Reels. If Instagram decided to do it, their users would leave for X. Every single company is trapped. They have to make their product slightly more addictive than the competitor. Or they die. There is no other option. There is no good guy and bad guy in this fight. There are just 6 companies all trapped in an arms race to capture as much of your attention as possible. And the prize is 15% of every human being's waking life. There is no end to this race. There is no point where they will say, okay, that is enough, we have enough attention. Because there is always another 1 second. Another 1%. Another $1 billion. Tristan Harris, former Google design ethicist, put it best when he testified to Congress. There are only 2 industries on Earth that refer to their customers as users. Illegal drugs and software. Sean Parker, the first president of Facebook, said, "We understood this consciously. We designed it this way. And we thought about it all the time. God only knows what it is doing to our children's brains. These are not critics. These are the people who built it." There is one very common misunderstanding about how the algorithm works that almost everyone has. Most people think the algorithm shows you what you like. Most people think if you are conservative, it shows you conservative content. If you are liberal, it shows you liberal content. It just gives you more of what you already want. This is not true. That is what it did 10 years ago. That is not what it does now. What it does now is much more powerful and much more dangerous. The algorithm does not give you what you want. The algorithm changes you into the type of person that stays scrolling. Over time, the algorithm will slowly test different versions of you. It will show you slightly more angry content. It will show you slightly more extreme content. It will measure how long you stay. And if you stay longer, it will show you more of that. Slowly, gradually, imperceptibly. It will move you, step by step, to whichever version of you has the highest possible average view duration. It does not do this on purpose. It does not have an agenda. It does not even know it is doing it. It is just an optimization function, doing exactly what it was told to do. It turns out that angry people scroll more. Anxious people scroll more. Polarized people scroll more. Depressed people scroll more. People who hate themselves scroll more. People who hate other people scroll more. So over time, the algorithm will slowly turn you into a more angry, more anxious, more polarized, more depressed version of yourself. Because that version of you stays longer. It does not hate you. It does not love you. It does not even know you exist. To the algorithm, you are just a collection of buttons. And it will press every single one of them. Over and over and over again. Forever. Until it finds the one that makes you stay. There have now been over 1,500 independent peer-reviewed studies on the effect of social media on human beings. This is what the data actually shows. Teenage girls who spend more than 7 hours a day on social media are 138% more likely to experience depression and anxiety. Teenage boys are 72% more likely. Political polarization in almost every country on Earth has increased by between 15% and 40% since 2012. Almost all of that increase can be directly attributed to algorithmic amplification of outrage. Loneliness and social isolation have increased by 60% globally since 2005. People who use social media every day report having significantly fewer close friends than people who do not. The average human attention span has fallen from 12 seconds in 2004 to 8 seconds in 2025. Lower than that of a goldfish. None of this is an accident. None of this is a coincidence. This is the system working exactly as designed. The effect on individual people is bad enough. But the effect on society as a whole is almost catastrophic. Before social media, if you had a stupid extreme fringe belief, you had to work very hard to find other people who agreed with you. You would probably never meet anyone who thought the same way. And eventually you would probably grow out of it. Now if you have any belief, no matter how stupid, no matter how extreme, no matter how deranged, the algorithm will find you 10,000 other people who believe exactly the same thing. And it will show you content that confirms you are right. And it will show you content that tells you everyone who disagrees with you is evil. There is no belief so insane that you cannot build a large community of people who believe it on social media. This has created a world where there is no longer any shared reality at all. 30 years ago, if you had 10 different people from 10 different political backgrounds, you could at least agree on the basic facts of what was happening. You might disagree violently about what to do about it. But you could agree on what it was. Now that is gone. There is not even agreement on what is actually happening. Half the population lives in one algorithmic reality. Half the population lives in a completely different algorithmic reality. And they hate each other more and more every single day. And the algorithm feeds this. Because conflict and anger and hatred is the most engaging content there is. Nothing even comes close. Every single day the algorithm gets a little bit better at finding exactly the thing that will make you the most angry. Exactly the thing that will make the other side the most angry. And it drops it right into the middle of the public square. And then it sits back and watches the engagement numbers go up. It does not care who wins. It does not care who gets hurt. It does not care if the country falls apart. It only cares that everyone is scrolling. This is the core of the entire system. The algorithm does not take sides. The algorithm bets on both sides. And it always wins. One of the most dangerous myths about social media is the idea that this is all the fault of a small number of bad people. That if we just got rid of Mark Zuckerberg or Elon Musk, everything would be fine. This is a lie. If you fired Mark Zuckerberg tomorrow and replaced him with the most kind, compassionate, progressive person on earth, nothing would change. Absolutely nothing. Because that person would have exactly the same incentives. They would have exactly the same shareholders. They would have exactly the same metric. Maximize time spent. If they refused to do it, they would be fired and replaced with someone who would. There are no villains in this story. There are just people trapped in a system with perverse incentives. This is the part that almost nobody understands. Almost everyone who works at these companies hates what they are building. Almost all of them strictly limit the amount of time their own children are allowed to use the products they build. Almost all of them know exactly what it does. But none of them can change it. Because the system is larger than any one person. Larger than any one company. Even if all of the CEOs of all of the companies got together tomorrow and agreed to fix it, they could not. Because the first one that broke ranks and made their product slightly more addictive would take all the users and win everything. This is a market failure on a scale that has never existed before in human history. And there is currently no solution on the table anywhere. You will notice I have not told you to delete all your social media accounts. There are two reasons for that. First, it is unrealistic. For almost everyone, social media is now an unavoidable part of modern life. Your friends are there. Your work is there. Your family is there. Telling you to just delete it is useless moralizing. Second, and more important, it is not necessary. The only thing that matters is this. Up until now, only one side knew the game was being played. The algorithm knew exactly how you worked. And you had no idea how it worked. Now you do. That is almost all of the battle. Once you understand that every notification is a variable ratio lever. Once you understand that every piece of anger bait is deliberately designed to keep you scrolling. Once you understand that the algorithm is actively trying to modify your personality to make you stay longer, the entire spell loses almost all of its power. You do not need to delete the apps. You just need to remember that you are playing a game. And you know the rules now. You will still sometimes get angry. You will still sometimes find yourself scrolling mindlessly for an hour. But now you will catch yourself. You will notice it happening. And you will be able to put the phone down. That is enough. That is all you need. There is no perfect solution. There is no going back. This technology exists now. It is not going away. It will only get more powerful and more sophisticated every single year. But you do not have to be its victim. I will leave you with one final thought. This is the most important invention of the last 100 years. It is also the most dangerous. It has connected billions of people. It has allowed us to talk to anyone anywhere on Earth instantly. It has exposed corruption. It has overthrown dictators. It has taught hundreds of millions of people things they would never have learned any other way. And it is also systematically rewiring the personality of the entire human species. It is increasing anger, depression, anxiety, loneliness, and polarization at a scale that we do not even begin to fully understand. Both of these things are true at the same time. This technology is not good. This technology is not evil. It is just technology, built by human beings, with all of the virtues and all of the flaws of human beings. The greatest danger of this system is not that it is evil. The greatest danger of this system is that it works exactly as advertised. It will give you exactly what you want. A little bit more every day. Until you want nothing else. And the only defense you will ever have against it is to know that it is happening. If this video explained something to you that you did not understand before, then Power Atlas is exactly the channel for you. Every week we break down the hidden systems and hidden forces that shape the modern world. No ideology. No propaganda. No yelling. Just explanation of how things actually work. Hit subscribe so you never miss a video. Drop a comment below. What part of this video changed how you think about social media? I read every single comment. Next week on Power Atlas we will cover the question that nobody wants to answer. Where does this end? And is there anything that can actually be done to stop it? I will see you there.